All right.
There
We
we
are
are.
live.
We're something. I don't know if we're live. We're something.
We're something.
Katie Doll, we're on a split screen.
Yeah, we sure are. I know we're separate from each other.
Yeah.
And while I have time, I'm just going to tell Rich to please bring me up a new phone charger. But I'm so sad not to be in the same place as you.
I'm gonna kill some flies.
Okay, you do it.
Ay ay ay. They're
Oh
mean.
no.
They're mean.
Oh.
It's really pretty behind me, but they are, that's where the flies are coming from. So
Have you
I
considered wearing
what?
a little dress? Shoe fly, shoe fly,
Shoe
shoe fly. Goodbye.
little dress, little dress, little dress. I have on my headphones too, which is new for me. And I'm watching myself while I do this, and there's a little delay, so I look like some kind of a disconnected creature, which
Uh-huh.
is, yeah.
You look
So,
very normal to me, just for the record.
so everything that I just talked about, it was like, no, you don't look funny at all. It's quick talking about it,
You don't look
basically.
like a disconnected creature. I mean, there's nothing
Oh,
Frankenstein, going
Frankensteinian,
on. Yes,
or
exactly.
is it Frankensteinian? Stinian or Steinian?
I think we'd like people to weigh in with that, everyone. You let us know.
It's the old Hammerstein, Hammerstein, Bernstein, Bernstein, but nobody ever
Exactly.
says Sondheim,
That's such a great point.
right?
Yeah,
Never.
we
Yeah.
know about that one.
But it's a Stein thing, not a Heim thing, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Huh.
in German, for sure, you would say Stein and you would say Heim.
Yes,
So,
because you always say the second vowel, right? In German. You always of the when there's two vowels in a row, you say the second one long.
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
That's
the
interesting.
yeah.
So the E followed by the I makes the I long, not
That's
the E
right.
followed by the
Exactly.
I, but because the I is second.
That's exactly right. And Rich Higdon, that didn't work yet, so you might have to try plugging into a different plugger. Um, I have a tech guy here, and you have a tech guy there. Aren't we lucky?
Yeah, we're something.
Yeah, we are really cooking with, as they say, gasoline or something like that, right?
Gasoline. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
All
Katie, how was
right.
your? Katie is in Minnesota, and you had a gig there on Friday. Is that right?
I did. That's right. It was so awesome.
Was it?
It was, yeah, there were real people, and they were all listening, and they were breathing, and they
Yeah,
had, hearts that were beating, and it was so great. It
yeah,
was very cold, but it was all worth it. And they were all very Minnesota-y and stoic. They all were wrapped in blankets and
yeah.
good sports about the whole thing.
I dressed. I did an outdoor little dining thing the other night, and I Charles and I both dressed up like we were going skiing. We put on our long underwear. I mean, we were like,
Yeah,
we know how to do this. We eat on the
yeah,
slopes when we go skiing. It's like 40 degrees or whatever. It's like no problem.
yeah. No problemo at all.
Uh huh. Did you watch the Packers?
No, and don't tell me what happened.
I
I'm in the
haven't watched them. I
bubble.
wouldn't have any idea.
Oh yeah, no, I'm in the
But
bubble.
we just
For
I
sure.
just wanted to make sure because people might put something in the chat because exuberance or lack
Right,
thereof. One never
right.
knows. Yeah,
Run never does. I know. I would really like
you
to
would
not know
not want to
because
know.
here in Minnesota, you can't
Yes,
find it. You can't watch the game live in market by any legal means,
right.
unless you have direct TV, which
Got
my
it.
mom does not. So I'm willing to go a lot of lengths to watch my Packer game, but not $300 sudden direct TV subscription.
That's
So
amazing. It's
yeah,
because of the market thing, and so, the Vikings are playing in the local market, so you can't get them unless you have a workaround.
that's exactly right. But
Yeah.
there is a 7-day free trial of NFL Game Day Pass,
Have you
which,
used it yet?
well, we signed up and we're going to watch it after the Jeff and Katie show. So that's why I don't want to know what happened.
Oh. Well, that was smart.
Yeah, thanks.
We do have DirecTV, and we are taping the Packer game.
Oh,
I,
good.
but I'm sure somebody will text me and tell me how it came up long before I get around to deciding whether or not I'm going to put it on.
Really? Do
Could,
people text you and tell you? I wouldn't think to myself, who really wants to know what happened in the Packer game is Jeff Herbst.
you wouldn't?
No, but would I be wrong?
Get on that bandwagon. No, it's not that I want to know, it's that they want to share. So they're just sort of randomly picking people out, I guess, to share with.
Uh-huh. That makes sense.
Something like that, I guess. So,
Yeah.
Katie, I wasn't sure because for the first half hour of the Jeff and Katie show that was not live, which was us trying to figure out this StreamYard business, being remote from one another. We were playing around with whether or not we'd be able to do any music. Are we? Where are we on that? Do you think?
Well, I think we're gonna try it because, it's a crazy new world of COVID, and we feel that all chains are simultaneously on and off at the same time.
I wonder if I should just try the Jeff and Katie show theme song as a little
Totally.
test. And then people can weigh in and say that was worth it or don't sing anymore with any playing of the piano people or we will tune out. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I'm going to try this with my headphones on even though I can't hear.
Oh, this
Do you
is
think
such a brave new world.
do you think it'll work? It won't work, but we're going to do it anyway. That way I don't have to listen to my bad piano playing. It's Sunday and you're on the go.
At 4 o'clock, it's time to slow.
'Cause everybody that you know is watching the Jeff and Katie show. The Katie,
The Katie
and
and
Jeff
Jeff
show.
show.
The Jeff and Katie show.
Katie and Jeff show.
The Jeff and Katie show.
Maybe it's commutable.
This is definitely a solo song today.
Okay.
The Jeff and Katie show, the Katie and Jeff show, the Jeff and Katie show, the Katie and Jeff show. Jeff and me, commutable, refutable, disputable, delusional. No matter what, we know that you'll be watching the Jeff and Katie show.
Math.
Oh,
Yay!
wait. So you were listening,
Yeah.
ish,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I can't look at the chat because of all the people I'm afraid are going to scare me about tell me what's going on in the Packers. But to me, it sounded great.
well, there you go. Ask
I
Rich.
did want to.
He'll be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. Rich. Oh, I see one that says, "Well, it kind of works."
they're so generous.
Yes, they're very nice.
We love you
I,
all.
I did want to warn you that my phone charger is not working, so if I go away, I'll get back on with my computer, and never be alarmed.
Your phone charger's not working. That
I
sounds
know.
like a dire emergency in life.
I know my amazing tech guy did try 2 different strategies to get it to work, but to no avail. But anyway, it's okay.
Oh.
I've got a whole second device already. Yeah.
We have some stuff going on at Northern Sky. It's on this piece of paper.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So this Thursday at 5:30, September 24th, we're gonna have Play Club. Katie Doll.
And
Do you know
I'm so excited about what play it is.
what is it?
It's The Passage by Fred
That's
Alley and
correct.
James Velk.
That's correct. That is what it is. And when did the Passage premiere, Katie Doll?
1994.
And what show played with it?
Belgians in Heaven.
That's correct. I had an email from Katie O'Regan saying that she was going to tune in
Oh,
to
good.
Play Club on Thursday. Katie was in the original in 94.
Yes. And I think that she played a woman named Katie.
I think she might have.
An old married Katie. I think
Oh,
Karen Mall
what's her name?
referenced her.
Sister. Was it her
Yeah,
sister? Karen Mall's
Claire.
sister?
Well, there was
Claire.
there were 3 sisters. I think it was confusing because Amy Chapey and Karen Mall were sisters. They
Oh,
sang
yeah.
If Things Were How They Should Be, but I think there was a third, like a la Peggy Schuyler. There was a third less, not as important sister in the play.
Oh, Peggy Scott from Hamilton.
Yeah.
Took me a while. I was thinking, as soon as you said Peggy, I'm like, Packer Friends from Outer Space. She didn't even have
right.
any siblings. And of course, her last name was not Schuyler, it was Keister.
Oh, right. A minor difference.
Yeah, minor difference. Somehow, I have a feeling Lin-Manuel Miranda would have said, I cannot write a show called Keister, a song called Keister Sisters.
I think that would have been wise.
Yes, indeed. So that's coming up. And I think we have settled now on a date for Nerd Night. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
When is it going to be?
I think it's October 10th, which is a little later than we originally. If you may have gotten it on your calendar for a different date, but never fear, it's going to happen on October 10th, and it's going to be awesome. It's a Saturday.
Yeah. Is that promo out for all people to see yet?
I don't think so, but when it is, you hold on to your hats because it's very exciting, that little teaser.
Did you put that together?
No, no, I would not be praising it so highly if I did.
Why
At
not?
least not verbally. I would
I
be only
see.
doing it internally. But Molly and Chase put it together, I think.
That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah, totally
I
great.
did.
And so that's great. And last night was the Babbage Cabaret. I couldn't tune in. But how I heard it went great.
Yeah, Kate, Allie sang her heart out. She had a wonderful selection of songs. So interesting. She did something from Come From Away, and she did obviously something from Victory Farm, which was lovely. Um, oh yeah, she had a really eclectic, interesting program, and just sang great. Just great. And of
Of
course,
course she did.
Colin on the piano. They really are a dynamic duo. Those two,
Yeah.
really, really fabulous. I want so much for us to have the opportunity to be able to see them live in the Gould. Doing a program like that. It would be
Uh,
so awesome.
yeah. Oh, that sounds great. I mean, we will sometime. I
Yeah.
have faith that would be great.
Some of our other fellow companies up here and in Wisconsin have been doing some interesting work online too. And it's worth mentioning that, and I don't know if they're still available to watch, but I thought that Dor Shakespeare's a version of Rosalind was really clever, and so much work went into it, and it was really worth seeing, just really worth seeing. And we watched Lifespan of a Fact last night, which is the Forward Theater Company
Hmm.
new their first virtual foray into a new season, and that too was really interesting. Michael Harold was in that. Michael
Oh,
was, one of the originals in The Bachelors back in the
yeah.
day, and James Carrington was in it too. And James was up here and did he did
Door
a
shakes, right?
workshop.
Oh.
He did Door Shakes, but he did a workshop for us last year. He did um,
The load home, the driver's seat,
Driver's
whatever.
Seat.
Yeah. Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, really good guy, and really good role for him. And he was terrific, really terrific.
Cool. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and it was these things are really inventive, and everybody's really trying to make sure that they can present stuff that's unique and like that. And I think both of those companies have done a really really admirable job of doing that with those two attempts. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's so cool. I mean, it's interesting in the music world too to see people get more and more inventive and better at presenting online content. Like everyone's figuring out the technology, figuring out the basics, so that within that they can sort of expand their horizons and what they're trying to do.
but nobody has had. I mean, I know there are programs out there where they say that this whole lapse thing can be corrected within milliseconds, but
So far, no.
so
Um,
far, no.
no, I think people the only although people are doing super cool creative things of like, I'll just sing a two chord song and you can just kind of like it'll be in the chord somewhere, whatever you're humming, and I've seen that work really well. It's obviously not a fix for very much, but
Yeah,
even within that constraint, and people, have put together really cool videos ahead of time. It can't be live
right,
of
right.
together performances.
Yeah, I've participated in a couple of those. They're really good, but yeah, it's a different beast.
Yeah.
And the person who becomes most critical in all of those equations is somebody who's editing and putting all that together.
Yes.
Which theater companies don't generally have on their staff.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
mean, we are so lucky to have Chase and Molly. You
Yeah.
know, it's really unbelievable. We wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff we've been able to do without them
No,
and
they're
their
the
and their
best.
expertise. Yeah, yeah, really amazing. So, do you want to try doing a song?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. I was trying to debate between an up-tempo song about Minnesota, since I'm in Minnesota,
Yes.
or a slow song about cardamom cake because I made cardamom cake for the Bake Off.
Oh, you did. I
Uh,
bet it. Yeah.
but I think your song might be a slower one, so maybe I should do a peppier one. What do you think?
Oh, Pep Away.
Okay, okay. Well, so I grew up in Minnesota, but I know you all. know this, but I need you to understand that I am really a Packers fan. I'm not an intruder. I was never a Vikings fan, but I do love Minnesota in a lot of ways. And whenever I come back to Minnesota, it feels like, oh, I'm so glad to be back.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
yeah, it is. I used to claim that I could, if you drop me down in the middle of a field in Minnesota or Wisconsin, I could tell you which one I was in. And I
Based on
now
the
believe,
tassels of the corn?
well, I don't know, based on like the vibe, like this feeling of my spirit, but I now believe that
Oh,
is a bogus claim. But
uh-huh.
I did hold tight to it for quite a while. Uh,
The
so
mooing
anyway,
of
this
the cow.
right, yeah, it's something. It's very ineffable. Um, so anyway, here is a song about Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota, I was born on your highways. I've crossed through your skyways, watched the Mississippi roll. I am your prodigal daughter, swam your 10,000 waters, spent all your shiny quarters at a bar in Sevastopol. Oh, Minnesota, you are my beginner's luck. Yeah, your hockey pucks and potlucks, gray ducks and purple rain. You're the night on Lake Nokomis when I kissed her in the snow. You're the street light glow I can see from the airplane. And I keep an agate in my pocket and a jacket in my car. Hey, Minnesota, call me back if I stray too far. Hey, oh, Minnesota, I've tracked salt into your halls, in the corners of your malls. You've held me while I cried when I wore the wrong clothes, when the other kids didn't know me, or when I left my shoes at home, had to wear my muddy boots inside. And I keep an agate in my pocket and a jacket in my car. Hey, Minnesota, call me back if I stray too far. Hey, oh, Minnesota, I am your fickle lover. I wear holes in all your gloves. I unravel all the yarn. When the air turns bitter, when my voice starts to quiver, I drive right across that river and straight into your arms. And I keep an agate in my pocket and a jacket in my car. Minnesota, call me back if I stray too far. Hey, yeah, oh, Minnesota, you are my oldest friend. When I start to bend, I think it's you who keeps me strong. Something in your sweaters and your sensible shoes that says it's me you choose. You're the place where I belong. Yeah, it says it's me you choose. You're the place where I belong.
Katie Doll. When did you write that song?
20, well, let's see. I wrote it. It was the last song I wrote before I recorded my latest album. So I guess I wrote it in like January of last year.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is a question I don't really know the answer to. Um, I know that when you're writing a show like For Northern Sky, you have deadlines that can be imposed by us. But when you're just deciding that you want to do an album, how do you decide that? And what's the process then for you making sure that you have the material?
Right. Well, I think it can go in either direction. For a while, I was on a system where I recorded an album every 3 years, and that worked pretty well for me. Like I had about enough songs and money saved up after 3 years to make another CD, and that worked great. But I lately have been finding, especially since I had a kid, my writing time is more limited, and I think I almost need to make a I almost need to make a plan to make an album which gives me a deadline to finish the songs by. You know, you do need deadlines. It's just you'd like to think that you just have your brilliant ideas when you have them, but really you only have them when you have deadlines.
Yeah, I think that I have found that to be true for almost all the writers who have ever worked for us.
Yeah,
You know, it just
yeah,
it doesn't matter. It's like if it's 2 months, if it's 3 months, if it's 2 weeks, it's like, oh, it got done.
yeah. It's amazing. I know.
uh,
And even self-imposed deadlines can be really helpful, but I personally find it like any other accountability. I used to have a friend actually, I mean, I still have this friend. What we used to do is be each other's accountability partners, and we talked every Monday morning, and we had a shared spreadsheet of what all we needed to do in the week, and we checked in the next Monday morning to see if we did it. And it was so helpful. We both work in sort of weirdly, nebulous fields with where we don't have bosses giving us deadlines, so we had to be our own bosses. So
yeah,
little tricks like that to trick myself into thinking that I'm accountable to someone are
yeah,
very helpful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in a similar position, weirdly, as somebody who is basically, the decider about
Yeah.
artistic things. So there's nobody else telling me exactly what to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's a saving grace to have Molly as an associate because it's lonely,
Yeah.
which is why I was asking you the question, like how do, you have to be so motivated, self
Yeah.
motivated, you know?
I know it. Sometimes I have to say to myself, I work for Katie Doll. Like, and sometimes I have to be mad. Like, it's nice to have sometimes what's frustrating is you don't have anyone else to be mad at. Like, you're like, oh, I have to do this. And if your boss was making you do it, you'd be like, oh, that jerk of a boss. But sometimes I have to tell myself, oh, that Katie Doll, she really does she does really, make you work too hard or, or whatever. I have
Yeah,
to commiserate with myself about myself.
I tell you.
Yeah.
So let's see. We're going to kind of follow our usual format, but we don't have a special guest this time around because of this StreamYard business.
Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna
so,
have that special guest though. I had sort of mentioned him last week.
oh
Andy
yeah,
Colson will still be our special guest, but he's gonna be our special guest on October 4th. And next week we have a special guest, very secret, don't tell anyone else. Kelly Doherty will be our special guest
oh,
on
I
September
won't tell anybody.
27th.
No, I
Okay, good.
won't. I definitely won't tell anybody. Now,
Okay,
I
good.
can't promise that people won't immediately text it to me in return to let me know.
I love this idea that Jeff is like people are just like, oh, I found out this thing. Must text Jeff.
Yes, must text Jeff. It's not about texting me. It's about that they have to tell somebody. I just happen to be somebody that they tell.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to do some trivia?
Yes, I do. Who's gonna go? Are you gonna trivia me first?
Um, I can.
Oh, but you don't have to. Do you want to do it the other way? I'm excited to ask you your questions.
You are?
Yeah.
Well, okay, you go ahead. I still have to
Okay.
cogitate on whether I'm going to be able to do this with these headphones on.
Oh, right. Well, interesting. Okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
Um, here is the okay, so Jeff, I heard
Uh-huh.
from somebody called you yesterday that
Yes.
you are
Uh-huh.
very into Jeopardy and in fact have tried out for Jeopardy
Yeah.
several times and succeeded even, but you couldn't go on for
Yeah.
logistical reasons.
Well, they wanted me to come to do the final audition is really what the call was for. But I think once they call you for that final audition, unless you're like a sociopath, it's generally an indication that they want you on the show. But yeah, I was called last, and what I did, Katie, when Charles and I made our maybe it was our second trip out to LA. We drove out there. We did a cross country trip, and it was 1998, I think. The first time I tried out for Jeopardy was then, and we went to the Sony studios because there was no online back then, obviously.
Right.
So you had to go audition in person, right? And there were a whole mess of people all out there waiting to get in. They bring you into the studio where they film Jeopardy, where they tape it, and you sit in the audience, and they give you a written quiz. Back then, it was a written quiz, and you take this quiz, and it's like 50 questions. You got to do it in whatever it is, 5 minutes or whatever, and then you turn that in, and then they quickly assess who did what on that test, and then they dismiss all those people who didn't make it to the next round.
Uh-huh.
And there were only, like, I don't know, maybe 7 of us that answered enough questions to stay around in that room. And then they have you go up and they do the fake podium thing, and they give you like a little thing, and they ask you, the questions that are always so queer about, I hear that you have a cat that plays the piano, or
Yeah,
whatever they,
right.
it's you can always tell that it's sort of these canned things, and now I know why, because they want you to have thought about that.
Uh-huh.
So Alex is primed to ask you a particular thing about something like that, and then you do a quiz, and then you play Jeopardy with 2 other contestants, and
With a real buzzer?
it's a fake. Well, it's yeah. I mean, yes, a real buzzer where you have to push it and ring it, and then
Uh-huh.
they let you know that you are now in their pool of people that can be selected for the show, and I have been in their pool ever since, I think, because once they started doing the online tests, I started taking them whenever I could. That's the way they do them now. And when I take them now, you register for Jeopardy online, and then they say, okay, you can take it at such and such a time, and then you click to go. But you don't type in the what is, you don't do a question. You just type in the answer as fast as you can, and it's really fast. And it's 50 questions in 50 different categories, and go. And I say, okay, Charles, you sit over there, and all I'm going to do is just say what it is that I typed in, and then try to reconstruct what the question was, because by the time you get done doing this thing and you've got 50 questions, I can't remember anymore what the questions were, but at least
Yeah.
I know what I thought the answer was. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then I can gauge how well I thought I did as well. So anyway, that's where it ended up. And then last summer, I got the call from them saying, "Can you come to the city of your choice?" Which I had chosen to be St. Louis because it was halfway between Wisconsin and Texas, and I didn't know
Oh,
where I would
smart.
be when they called me.
Yeah.
Yes, except that when they called me, they said, it's on this date, and I said, I can't. I have a performance that night, and I don't, I can't miss it. And then and they're like, oh, too bad. And then I wrote them back a long email, and I gave them the story about, I went out to the Sony studios, and this is blah 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 blah. And they quickly emailed me back, and they're like, come on another day. And they gave me an alternate day, and I couldn't do that one either.
It's
So
also performance.
Yeah.
That
So
jerk, Jeff Herbst, made you be there.
yeah,
See? That boss of yours, that they're
exactly.
unyielding.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
are. They are.
Yeah.
So anyway, there we are. Yeah. So
So,
that was a long way to talking about my obsession with trying to get on that program.
yeah, well, so I was thought that we should maybe this was Molly Rohde's idea actually. I thought maybe I should find out how much you know about Jeopardy.
Oh God,
And so
I don't know anything about Jeopardy. Ugh,
well, do you know what Alex Trebek's full name is?
no, I have no idea.
Okay, it's George Alexander Trebek, but it was shortened from Tarabeychuk, which is his dad was a Ukrainian immigrant to
Oh,
what country? What country was he born in, Alex Trebek?
Canada.
Yes, correct. Good job. Do
Yeah.
you know what province?
No, but let's see. Odds are that it would be the most populous. So maybe Ontario.
Yes, good job. That's exactly right. Sudbury, Ontario, Canada.
Sudbury.
Um,
Ah.
yeah. Do you know if you had to guess what Guinness Book record Alex Trebek holds, what would you think it might be?
Well, I think he now has the distinction of being the longest running game show host.
That's right. Most game show episodes hosted by the same presenter.
Yeah.
And who was the previous record holder?
Well, it would either be Bob Barker from The Price is Right or Pat Sajak from Wheel of Fortune. I'm going with Pat Sajak, Wheel of Fortune.
Bob Barker from The Price is Right.
Oh,
I know. I know. So now, Jeff, when I was asking you about things that maybe I could quiz you on for trivia, you also mentioned that you're a big Oscar fan. So this is a little hybrid section.
okay.
You know how Alex Trebek is always appearing on movies and TV shows like as himself. Like there are all these movies where, like the TV is on in the background and
Oh,
there's
yeah, yeah,
Alex Trebek. Like Jeopardy happens in pop culture a lot, right? Like,
yeah,
and it gets
yeah.
lampooned a lot. Okay, so Alex Trebek, it's like 40 to 60 movies and TV shows that Alex Trebek has appeared in as himself. But two of them are Oscar winning movies. Two of the movies, and I was wondering if you might be able to identify what two movies those are. And I went happy. I have clues about each of them, but I thought I'd just let you think about it in your
So,
own mind to start.
are you saying that these are two films that won the Oscar for Best Picture?
One of them won the Oscar for Best Picture, and one of them is simply an Oscar nominee for Best Director.
Oh, heavens. Well,
But I can tell you what year.
oh, um, well, if I had to take a stab in the dark at a movie that might have had a scene of Jeopardy in it, Forrest Gump comes to mind because they had and it was an Oscar winner.
That's a good idea, but it's not correct. It's in the right general, of course, like time period. I guess Jeopardy, it's not going to be like a movie in the 40s, right? But if you think about this movie, you might think there's a pretty heavy focus in this movie on daytime television. And one of the characters really likes some certain daytime television shows. This is the one that won Best Picture. Um, and it won actually 8 Oscars,
Wow.
including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor.
Oh, Rain Man.
Yes, good job. Well done. Correct. So now the other one is a little harder. So this one, like I said, was an Oscar nominee for Best Director.
Yeah.
And the year was 1993.
Okay, that
So
would have been the year that Silence of the Lambs won.
nope,
Okay.
that would not be that year.
Oh, so if you're going by years, so was it the 93 Oscars or the
I think it
year
was
that
the
the
90,
movies?
right. I believe it's the 90 with Rain Man. I made this distinction in my notes, and with this other movie I didn't. Um, and so I just have 1993 down.
Okay.
Who do you if it was what if it was 94, then if it was the 94 Oscars and a 93 film, then who would you think won for Best Director?
Well, Pulp Fiction was nominated, but Tarantino didn't win for Best Director, and the movie didn't win.
Do you-
94.
It's would you like me to tell you the director who won?
Yes.
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, he won for Schindler's List.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, thinking about other movies that would have been pop culture reference.
I'm going to tell
Uh,
you some things about it because I had never heard of this movie, so it
oh,
might be pretty obscure. It's a comedy drama inspired by the short stories and a poem by Raymond Carver, starring Matthew Modine and Julianne Moore, set in Los Angeles. Ring any bells?
it's not Get Shorty. That's Elmer
Well,
Leonard.
but it sounds very similar. It has the word short in it.
Shortcuts.
Yes, good job. That's right. Well done. I would never have
Wow.
gotten it. I
Wait,
had
was that?
never heard it.
So that was a the person who won for that would have been Robert Altman.
Right, he didn't win. He was nominated,
I
and
mean,
he lost to
nominated.
Steven Spielberg. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
It's a
right. Good
really,
job.
it's a really good film.
I bet.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and Alex Trebek is in it as himself on Jeopardy.
I didn't
So
remember
there you
that.
go. Well, there you have it. Do you know who wrote the Jeopardy theme song?
I don't.
Merv Griffin, the show's creator.
Is that right?
Do you know what it's called?
I would say that it's called Merv Griffin takes a shower in the morning and then decides to sing and says, I think I'm going to use that again.
That's exactly right.
I thought so.
Yes. It's called Think. It was originally called A Time for Tony, which was a lullaby for his son. Isn't it the worst lullaby ever?
Da
Like,
da 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 da. Okay, Dad, enough.
yeah, I know. Like, it would
Enough.
not make
I
me
know
want to
the
go to
answer.
sleep.
Shut up, Dad.
Exactly. Do you know what the most popular category on Jeopardy over all of the years of its existence has been?
Oh, that's a really good question. The one they've used the most.
Yes. You can, I have 10 listed here that are the most common, so you get some points if you say one of the 10 that's the most common, but there's
Well,
one that's the most.
um, well, um, well, pop, pop, pop music
Not in the
is,
top 10, it says
yeah.
in the list.
Movies.
Not in the top 10.
Wow. Geography.
Uh, some things that would be geography.
Lakes and rivers, mountains, countries of the
Oh, world
world.
geography. Never mind. World
Uh
geography
huh.
is one of the top 10.
Yeah. You know, they always say the dreaded opera category. I don't think it pops up that often. Um,
What if I
uh,
told you that the most popular one was and
something and something.
hmm
Rock and roll. No. Um,
Jeff and
yeah.
Katie.
Yeah. I'll know it when you say it.
Before
And
and
after.
after. Yes,
I
uh-huh.
love that category.
Yeah,
I
I know.
love
I
that
love that
category.
category too. Yes, I
Sometimes
agree.
they do. Sometimes they do before and after. Or like there are three of them that you have to connect.
Ooh,
Yeah, which is really fun.
yeah, that sounds very hard. Um, Also, do you know what the show's original name was? Because wasn't originally an Alex Trebek hosted show, and it wasn't originally called Jeopardy.
Right. Alex Fleming was the original
That's
host,
right.
and I think it was like it might have been like College Bowl um, or yeah, I'm not sure what it was called.
It was called What's the Question?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
And finally, I don't know why you would have to be. I would be surprised if you know this, but I thought it was interesting. Do you know what forest bouncing is?
As it relates
F
to
O
Jeopardy.
R yes, FORREST bouncing.
Well, that spelling of Forrest is like Forrest Gump.
It is like Forrest Gump. It's also like Chuck Forrest, the overall Jeopardy champion in 1986. Yes,
Oh, is Forrest? It's this idea of randomly going all over the board instead of going in order.
exactly, and it
Uh
throws
huh.
your opponents off.
Uh huh. Well, you know
It,
what it is. What it is it's searching for.
the
Um,
Daily Double.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Because if you watch Jeopardy enough, you know that it's going to be probably somewhere in the middle. You know,
yeah,
often. I
right.
mean, it's
It's not
very
going to be a
seldom.
200.
Very
Yeah,
seldom. Very
yeah.
very seldom. And yes, it is sometime. I don't know if it's as often, but it's at the bottom too. But yeah, they just yeah, forest jumping. I know exactly who you're talking about too. Chuck
Yeah,
Forrest.
Chuck Forrest.
Yeah,
Yeah, well done.
yeah.
You have succeeded in Jeopardy trivia. You
I
would,
tell
if
you,
you won, you would win all your earnings, and if you won second place, you would win. Do you know how much money you would win if you got second place on Jeopardy?
they changed it, and it used to be that you could keep the money that you earned, but now they don't do that anymore. I don't know. Is it like $1,500 or something?
Yes, 2,000 for second and 1,000 for third.
Yeah.
And also they used to, in addition to the money you earned, they used to give you promotional products like Rice-A-Roni, which is a hilarious promotional product to receive from your time on Jeopardy. Oh, I have this great box of Rice-A-Roni. It's like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted.
They used to be a sponsor of the show. What was I going to say about that? Remind me what you said before Rice-A-Roni.
2,000, 1,000.
Oh, like with the Great British Bake Off, the contestants all have to pay their way
I
through
was
all the
wondering.
through all of the auditioning, through all of the appearances until the until they're called for the final show. Yeah.
And then if you're called for the final show, then they pay for your plane
I
ticket and your hotel or what?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if
Wow.
only if I think it's only I'm not even positive once you win what they do for you, but yeah, I know. Something, isn't it?
Yeah, just for the love of the game. I love people are getting these questions right. And Clarica Jacob says you should have come to St. Louis. And
I know. I
yes,
know.
uh, so there you have it. Oh, Holly
Uh,
Feldman says these prize winnings would make for a nice buck in the bucket, which is an excellent point. I should
Holly
mention.
Feldman, she's
Yeah,
segueing even remotely.
I know she's a true director of development. We should
Oh,
hire her as
fly.
that. Get your little dress
Done.
on. Yes, good done. She says, or I wanted to tell you that if you wanted to support Northern Sky in our, you know, work of creative work and developing new shows and all the sort of stuff that we're doing right now, you can drop a few bucks in our bucket at paypal.me/a buck in the bucket. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good job on your trivia, Jeff Herbst.
Hey, thanks, Katie Doll.
Yeah.
All right, I'll quiz you.
Okay, great. Ooh,
We'll
I'm
see
so
how it
excited.
goes.
I've
Well,
always wanted to be quizzed by Jeff, but everyone else gets quizzed.
I did one time I did before we kind of settled into our format. I gave you I think it was a Chad quiz, wasn't it?
A Chad
No,
quiz?
not Chad, Molly.
Molly
Molly?
quiz?
Mali? Didn't I
Oh
quiz
yeah,
you about?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I was
think
thinking Molly Rhodey. Yes.
we could do that one next.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's do this first. I have no idea if this is going to work, Katie, but I was going to play you a little clip from something, see if you could recognize the song.
Oh,
You know,
great.
I don't know if will you be able to hear it? We didn't. David and I
I
didn't
think
test
so.
this.
Let's
Okay,
find out.
let's see.
That's I dreamed a dream. Oh, it's in French.
Very good.
Exciting.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. That's exactly
Uh-huh.
right because it was originally written in French.
Yeah.
Do you know any of the French?
Uh, J'avais une rêve d'une autre vie.
I know. What's really interesting about this, Katie Doll, is okay, for starters, that particular song has a bridge that goes, "But the tigers come at night," right?
Uh-huh.
Do you know the next line?
With her voice as soft as thunder.
Yep. As they tear your hope apart.
As they turn your dreams to shame.
Exactly, exactly. In French, believe it or not, it's mais les loups
The
rôdent,
wolves.
yes, rôdent dans la nuit.
Does that mean howl in the night?
It doesn't mean howl. It means that they
Run?
roam or
Oh,
run. Yeah,
uh-huh.
rôde. Et l'un d'eux fleurait ma trace.
The donkey of lawn.
And no, and one of them,
Oh.
um, was sniffing out my trail. Right?
Yeah, that's great.
Instead of, but the tigers come at night with their voices soft as thunder. As they tear your hope apart, becomes moi, j'ai comblé l'appétit.
J'ai comblé les bêtis. I something the beast.
I satisfied the appetite of the
Oh,
first
oh,
thief to
l'appétit.
pass.
Awesome. Oh, I
Isn't that
love it. I
amazing?
love thinking about translation. It's astonishing to me, the translation. And like, you really do, it's so, especially with metered, with a song
Yeah.
or, and with a rhyme, if there is a rhyme scheme to be honored, like, it's crazy to me to think about the job of a translator. Like, that's totally different, but you get the wild animal vibe in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And So amazing. So
I mean,
amazing. I love it.
the thing that struck me about this was, do you know the character who sings that
Fantine.
song? Yeah, Fantine. And what is her? What does she do?
She works in a factory that Jean Valjean runs.
Yeah,
And she's a prostitute also. She's turned
exactly,
into a prostitute. She gets fired.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that the French gets closer to revealing that than the English, which sounds very poetic. Here,
Right.
she's basically saying wolves are roaming the night, and one
Right.
of them was sniffing out my trail, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's so
And and
interesting.
and I satisfied the appetite of the first thief to pass. You know,
Right.
she, yeah,
Yeah. I love that. I That's so interesting, isn't it?
right,
Huh. But also like there's an emotional truth that you get in the English version, like to talk about shame so overtly in the English version, it like there's a different beauty or truth that you get from that too, you know.
right,
That's
right,
really interesting.
right, right.
I
Here's your
love
next.
this.
Here's your next one.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That also was in French.
Uh-huh.
What's the English? What's the English?
Do you hear the
Ti-
people sing?
do you hear the people
Singing the
sing?
songs of angry men. It is the music of a people. Will not be slaves again. When the
That's right.
music of our heart echoes the beating of our drum, there is a future that will start when tomorrow comes.
There's a life about to start when tomorrow
A
comes. That's
life,
right.
yes.
Who sings it? Who opens that song?
Is it Enjolras or is
Yes.
it? Yes,
And
okay.
Katie Doll, can you spell that?
Enjolras.
That's correct. Yes. Are you a visual speller?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. You like
I
close your
can't.
eyes, you can see it written.
Yeah, and I can't really learn a person's name if it's like a name I'm not familiar with unless I know how it's spelled. I can't
Yep.
remember it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I'm very much like that too.
Yeah.
So the French for that is also sort of interesting. It goes à la volonté du peuple.
At the will of the people.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Et à la santé du progrès or
and
progrès.
the Sante and the
Yep.
health of the health of like that SANTE,
That's right. That's right.
the health of the progress.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Remplis ton cœur
Fill
dans. Uh-huh.
fill your
Remplis
heart
ton cœur d'un vin rebelle.
in the rebel wine. Fill your heart in the rebel wine.
That's exactly right. Et à demain, ami fidèle.
And tomorrow, what did you say?
Ami fidèle. Ami fidèle.
To ami fidèle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Oh, a friend, a
Faithful
loyal
friend.
friend. Yeah.
Exactly. Faithful friend. Yep. Si ton cœur bat aussi fort.
If your heart beats strong enough.
Uh-huh. Que le tambour dans le lointain.
That the
Lointain.
drum in the meantime or something.
In the distance. In the distance.
Okay.
Lointain.
Oh,
C'est que l'espoir existe encore
it's as if hope exists again
pour le genre humain.
for the human race.
That's exactly right, Katie Doll.
Oh, I love it. It's so beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And it's called À la volonté du peuple is the title in French.
that's
Oh,
great. In the recording of Les Mis that I have listened to the most is the Royal Albert Hall. Like I think it's the 20th anniversary. It could be the 10th. But and they at the end they have all the different Valjeans from all the different countries singing the different couplets of that song.
that's
And
good.
like have you heard that? And
Yeah.
it's like so cool. Like I listened to it as a like a 12-year-old or something, and it's like you hear all these different timbres of voice, like all these different men singing who have such different beautiful voices in such weird different ways and all these different languages. And I used to be able to sing all those different, like Japanese and German, like all of them, because I listened to that
Is that
record so
right?
much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's spectacular. Katie Doll, when you texted me about trivia subjects to explore, You had Les Mis on there,
Hmm.
and of course you speak French, so that was helpful. But you also had on there, I think you had on there Sense and Sensibility.
Yes, the movie
I'm going to
adaptation.
I'm gonna ask you about a couple of words that Jane Austen used in Sense and Sensibility. See if you know what they mean, and see if you can spell them.
Okay, fun.
All right. So I'll read the sentence to you that the word is in the book.
Okay.
Their mother had nothing, and their father only £7,000 in his own disposal. For the remaining moiety of his first wife's fortune was also secured to her child, and he had only a life interest in it. And the word is moiety.
Well, I would think it would be spelled Moiety.
That's correct, Katie Doll.
And the remaining moiety, so the remaining half, I would
That's
think.
exactly right. Moiety
Yay!
means one of two approximately equal parts.
Huh, excellent.
Very good. The
Thank
next
you.
one, he would then have suffered under the pecuniary distresses which, because they are removed, he now reckons as nothing. Pecuniary.
Pecuniary.
You're a fast speller,
Why, thank you.
just like a typer.
And I think that means financial of some sort.
Yeah, it means relating to or involving money.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. One more. Barouche, a four-wheeled carriage. I'm just going to have you spell this one with a high front seat outside for the driver.
I don't know if I can spell it. I would guess it'd be French, so I'd guess it'd be Barrouche, but I'm not.
Only, only one R, but
Oh,
otherwise
okay.
you're right on. Barouche. Very good. All
Yay.
right. Next, you had on Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah. Oh, this is so exciting.
I don't know anything about Anne of Green Gables. Not a lick. I had no idea about anything except that I think it takes place in Canada. Is that
Correct.
true? Is that
Yes.
true?
Yeah,
Like on Prince Edward Island or something?
exactly on Prince Edward
Oh,
Island.
okay. And she's a little girl.
I mean, she grows up, but she's like 12. Yeah.
She's like 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just randomly chose some questions because I thought they were interesting and I have no idea why. So,
Okay.
why does Anne forget to put the cheesecloth over the plum pudding sauce?
Well, Miss Stacy comes to dinner, and she gets excited. But so that's when they serve the plum pudding sauce. But why does she? Oh, but why would she forget? She's imagining that like she and Diana were going over the Lake of Shining Waters or something. What is she
She
imagining?
was imagining she was a nun.
Oh, a nun.
Is that true?
I'm sure it is. That sounds right. She would imagine that.
That's funny. Okay,
Crazy
why
Anne.
wouldn't Anne speak to Gilbert Blythe?
Because he called her, well, I mean, there's many different reasons, but the troubles began when he called her carrots and pulled on
That's
her
right.
hair. Yeah.
And what did she do in return?
She broke her slate over his head.
That's exactly right. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Katie Doll, can you name this song?
The world is gloomy, and it isn't just your cup of tea. It's easy to imagine that it's rose in bloomy. You can think the things you want to be. So when all is said and done.
I mean, I have never heard the Anne of Green Gables musical, but I feel like it's probably Anne with an E.
That's correct.
No? Is it? Oh,
Yes.
good. That's what I would call a song if I was writing an Anne of Green Gables musical.
Oh, you mean what's no, the name of the song is called,
Oh,
I don't know what it's called. It's called Gee, I'm Glad I'm something or other. I can't see the whole title.
oh.
And yes, it is from Anne of Green Gables, the musical. Do you know it?
No, Dave Hudson wrote Anne of Green Gables play of some sort, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Anne of Green Gables, the musical, it's a musical obviously based on the book. By whom?
Lucy Montgomery.
Yes. And the musical has been performed and holds a Guinness World Record
Right, because they perform it just all the time on Prince Edward Island. Right? They
every
like never
year,
stop performing it because
every
everyone wants to see
year
it.
since 1965.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah, it's like the mousetrap of Canada.
It's like the
Yeah.
mousetrap of Canada, the Fantastics of off Broadway. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I know, unbelievable. So yeah, it's in the Guinness Book of Records.
Exciting.
Which Oscar did Jodie Foster win?
Oh, she won Best Actress for The Accused and Silence of the Lambs.
What was she nominated for?
Let's see. Was she nominated for Nell?
She was for Best
And
Actress.
was she not? Well, oh yeah, right. Did she get nominated for director for Little Man Tate?
She did not.
Oh, did she get nominated? She probably didn't get nominated for actor for Little Man Tate then either. Did she, this was a daring move of mine. How many nominations? Oh, well, how many nominations does she have?
4.
4. So
You've
I've got 3 of them.
Yep.
Did she get nominated for Contact?
Nope.
Oh, is it since 2000?
It is not.
Oh, Taxi Driver.
That's
Duh.
correct. How old was she?
12.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
11 or
12.
12.
Yeah. Right.
She did 5 movies that year in 1976. 5.
Wow. Freaky.
Can you name? That's right.
Freaky Friday.
Yep.
What's that one where she's like, it's like a mob movie and like played with all little kids. It's really weird.
Yeah. Very weird.
I don't remember what it's called
It's
though.
called Bugsy Malone.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Is that in that year?
It was that year as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know the other 2. I'm not sure you would.
Okay, what are they?
One of them's called The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane,
Okay.
and the other one is called Echoes of a Summer.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. Is either of them in French? You know that she's done several films all in French.
And apparently, I tried to find it and couldn't, sang songs for those movies.
Oh, cool. There
Yeah.
did used to be a YouTube movie of her like swinging on a swing and singing a song from many different angles all at once. It's very
Wow.
trippy. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of your trivia section, Katie Doll. Did I hit
Thank you.
Did I hit all of your favorite topics? I
You
tried.
did. It was so nice of you to do that. I appreciate it.
I learned some stuff too.
Yeah. Well, me too. I learned a lot about Jeopardy when I did yours.
I learned a lot about Jeopardy too from your quizzing me about it.
Right.
Let's do the bake-off.
Okay, good. I'm gonna have my baking friends bring my bakery up here. Just let me call down to them. Bakery, please.
Dave Alley's over there getting baked goods that he brought and
Oh,
that I
good.
brought. What did you bake this time, Katie Doll?
Well, I baked a cardamom cake, and I got the recipe from Ava Nimmer. She posted a cardamom bundt cake on Facebook, and it looked so beautiful.
Oh.
And so that's what I baked. What did you bake?
I baked some shortbread.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't wait to taste it.
I have to give a shout out. We're not really that much into competition around this show, but I do have to say that both times that I've baked bread, thank you, David. One was an olive rosemary Asiago cheese loaf, and the other one was a pecan cranberry loaf.
Yeah.
I used flour from a neighbor who gave me a bag of specialty Italian flour.
Uh-huh.
So I give credit to Chris Dubik for doing that, and she sent me this recipe for the shortbread. So it has to win. I use the same flour.
Oh, okay. Well, are you going to taste your own there?
I'm going to taste my own. This
Good.
is a rosemary shortbread.
Yum.
Mm-hmm. I know. I picked the rosemary right out of the garden right before I made it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. It's lively. What do you think, David? Did you taste it? Did you taste the rosemary shortbread? Like it? Too much rosemary? No. David doesn't think there's too much rosemary.
Oh, good. I don't think there is either. I think there's just the right amount.
Chris Dubik thanks you.
Yay, Chris. Did David bake something too?
David baked something. David, what are we tasting here? Yeah. No way. David baked a cardamom bun cake.
Ah, he also got, is it also Ava's recipe?
Is it Ava's recipe? It is.
That's hilarious. Okay.
I love
I'm
it.
so excited. Okay, so Rich is gonna cut my
Oh,
cake
look at how
while we
pretty
talk.
that. No,
So
wait a
I'm gonna
minute, Katie
show
doll.
you.
That's not a bun cake.
I know. Well, I asked my mom, "Do you have a bundt pan?" And she said, "Well, I have this frozen snowflake, from the Disney movie Frozen, snowflake shaped pan."
Wow.
So that is, so this is what it is. And there's you can't really see it, but there's an orange glaze on the top of this cake. So Rich is gonna cut it, and
No,
I
I can
brought
see
some.
it. I can see it. David
You
Alley
can
has
see
it
it.
too. It's right here.
Oh, right. You'll have to compare the two of ours.
I'm
We
comparing
have
them
our,
right now.
yes, good. I have some friends up here who are going to taste it and to, you know, show the true crowd reaction to the cake,
It's really good.
right? Oh, good. I'm so glad. And is David's more of a traditional bundt shape?
David's is a traditional bun shape.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an excellent crumb,
Uh-huh.
and the icing is just the right amount. It's really delicious, and the cardamom, as
Comes
Mary
right
Berry would,
through.
but it's not overwhelming. It's like just you know right in the mix. It's really good.
Oh, great. Guthrie, do you want to take a bite of this on the camera so that people can see what you think of it?
Yummy.
Guthrie
What?
doesn't like Katie. Guthrie doesn't like sweets.
Guthrie doesn't like sweets, Jeff says.
No.
That's so silly. Okay, now, and everyone, Mom, you can take your bite on camera too. I've brought the whole fam up here so we can all
Hi,
demonstrate.
Carla.
Jeff,
Thank-
she can't hear you, but Jeff says hi.
Thanks for hosting the Jeff and Katie
it's
show in
delicious,
your.
but it would benefit from cream cheese.
It would have benefited from cream cheese, she says. And now Rich is gonna try his bite.
Mm,
Do we all? Yep. You want another bite, Guthrie?
it's really
Here you
good.
go. Yeah,
That's.
this is hilarious. This is like we don't even have to be in the same place if both of us can just make the same thing.
I think it would
Across
have been
the miles.
hysterical if I would have made the same cake.
I've made a cardamom cake.
That would have been great.
I
Well, the
love
interesting
it.
thing here is, cardamom is a Middle Eastern spice generally. It's
Right.
used a lot. It's used like in a mango lassi. It's used quite often in Indian Middle Eastern cooking. But it's not a spice that's used predominantly in any American cooking that any of us grew up with for sure, right?
Well, but it's used a ton in Swedish cooking, which I grew up with.
Oh, of course, the Swedes.
So yeah, so that's why I have a song about cardamom cake because it makes me think of my grandma and just generally growing up with a lot of cardamom rolls and stuff like
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
I'd never
and in
heard of it.
fact,
Until I moved to New York City.
oh really? Oh, that's so interesting because you're all German. Your family
Yes.
is German. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Herbst means autumn, right? Is your name coming into season?
Herbst. Yeah,
Yeah. Does it mean autumn? Yeah.
it
Oh,
does
good.
mean autumn. That's exactly what it means, Katie doll.
Ah. Well, yay for the Bake Off. Chris Dubik has to win by default, right? And Chris Dubik's recipe executed so well by you.
Yeah,
But
anything made with that flour has to win from now on. So
right.
yeah,
That's
these are really
great.
good. This is
Yeah,
another
yay.
nice plate of goodies. Well,
Yes, I hope that the Bake Off is in person next week so we get to actually
It
taste
should-
it.
it should be.
Yeah,
We're hoping,
I think so.
right?
Yep.
Where are we at now?
Are you going to sing us a song? I mean, it's 5:07, so we could
Yeah, I'm scared
wrap
of.
around up.
I think we might have to wrap around up. I'm scared of singing because I don't think I can do it with these headphones on, and if I take them off, I'm afraid of some feedback stuff, and I don't know if this piano will sound good over this StreamYard, so it might be better not to this
Okay.
particular time.
Yeah, okay.
I'll hold these songs in check.
Okay, great. We'll get them at some point. And are you gonna, that sounds great. I was gonna say you could play us out, but you don't even have to play us out if you don't want to.
I will play us out.
Oh, good.
The Jeff and Katie Show.
Katie and Jeff show.
The Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff Show.
Commutable, refutable, disputable, refutable. No matter what, we know that you'll be watching the Jeff and Katie Show. And Jeff.
Good, well done. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our StreamYardy world, and we will see you next week at 4:00.
Yeah, we sure will. Enjoy your time there with your family. Good to see them.
Thank you. Yeah,
congratulations on the beautiful cake.
Thank you. Congratulations to both of you on your wonderful baking, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.